480. Okay, thank you.
You're just supposed to know that. I am so fucking mad right
now. No, nothing happened. It said thank you for calling. Goodbye.
Okay. Call back. Maybe he's trying to tell you something. Just so happened that I was watching an audit video and sent a couple of messages to, I think it was the mayor of Missouri or something like that.
I didn't call 911. I was calling the operator. I was trying to be transferred to Detective Sorba's voicemail, but it keeps hanging up on me. This is actually the third time in a row I've tried to. His mailbox number is 481, but it keeps hanging up on me. Okay.
So now she called the number and it went to 911. This is interesting. Maybe the one guy just didn't want to answer again.
That mailbox number is not valid. Please try again.
Okay, call back. This is fun.
No, it's not. This is irritating.
Vila. Right, Vila.
I'm so sorry to keep bothering you. It's still, yeah, it just hangs out. It says thank you. Goodbye.
No, this time it said it wasn't available.
And then I called back once in between, like before this time, and it somehow, instead of transferring me to you, it went to the 911 operator, and she tried doing it, and it said mailbox number not valid, and it hung up on me.
That's good stuff there. Now he's frustrated, but it's like, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to just quit?
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Hogan. My name is Angela Williams. I'll call back at area code 208-514-3255.
They already know your shit. What are you talking about?
It's a long story, so to leave it on your voicemail would just be ridiculous. You could just give me a call back at your earliest convenience. It is currently planned for 1 on Monday. Thanks a lot, and I hope you're having a great day.
Her years of cold calling come through every time. Thanks a lot, and I hope you're having a great day.
You're not nice, they're not going to call you back. That's for goddamn sure.
So, to inform this video, my wife just was pulled over for a brake light and subsequently searched and grilled and held for an hour or so. Just unnecessary shit. Supposedly because of something that happened a year ago, February. So February of 2023.
It's July, a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it's 2023 now. It happened in 2023 when I was falsely arrested for a pretty heinous crime that I didn't commit. So much so that they realized they'd fucked up, and
well, even when I said to the cops, I said, you know, when they showed me the video of the two people that broke into that store, the girl was like 5'9" with short blonde hair and absolutely no tattoos, and the one cop started laughing just now. He started laughing. I'm like, he said, so clearly it wasn't you. I'm like, clearly, and they felt really bad about it to the point where they actually took it upon themselves to drive my husband home at 2 o'clock in the morning, all the way from Shelby Township. That's how bad they felt. They didn't want to get sued because they knew they made a big mistake.
I can't believe you played into this so much. I am so mad. That would have gone completely differently if I was there.
But you know what? If any of those 4 cops, well, it was more than 4 bodies, but 4 cars.
4 cops.
They
4.
already know
All
the
those
story
resources.
now.
All those resources were wasted.
But they already know the story now. So if they see me again or whatever, they're not going to go through that again. They already know. You know, so if nothing else.
Yeah, you think that way, but they had absolutely zero reason to any of that. That was just an excuse they used to justify what they were doing. There's no charges filed. Nothing happened. So the fact that you're bringing up something that shouldn't even be there is really, really just a desperate attempt to justify your illegal search. That's illegal. What they did was illegal. You have Fourth Amendment rights. Right. You have a Fourth Amendment right to
PTSD.
to protect you from illegal searches and seizures. They have laws that say that traffic stops, a reasonable traffic stop is 20 minutes. Like, there's a lot going on here that you really should have exercised your rights and said, look, I don't know what's going on here, but it seems like you guys are fishing. And unless you have something on me, I'd like my ticket so I can leave. You know, that's it. If you're going to write me a ticket for the brake light, that's fine. I'll have it fixed by the afternoon, and I'll go take that up to the police station today.
Well, you are going to fix that today.
Yeah. Didn't know it was there.
No, didn't. I told him there's chasing gremlins on this car, man. That's why
No,
there's light bulbs
just
in my glove box.
there's literally no reason for any of this. At 4 cops, all those resources, you know. So what happened was I was actually set up. Considering the fact that I was set up too, this definitely shouldn't be on my record.
Right.
But some guy had me come out to his fake store to sell him some cards, and he bought a couple $100 worth of cards off me. He cleaned out a lot of my good shit, actually. But he wanted to get a few other things. He just didn't have the cash on him at the time. So he was like, I'm going to call you, this was on a Tuesday, I believe. He said, I'm going to call you Thursday and have you come back out. Now, this was Shelby Township, so this was like an hour and a half away. But, you know, it was worth it. So Thursday rolled around, and thankfully this happened, actually, but he told me to text him. He was like, before I got there, he was like, text me. You know, our conversation wasn't just on Facebook. It was through text and whatnot. So, can you fill this?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want this takeaway?
You know, and like he had been fucking around. He's a Arabic guy, you know, used to getting his way and whatever. Like, it was weird. But when I was there, he had taken a bunch of videos, because I had a box of cards that he went through. So he took a bunch of video of my cards, and I thought that was weird, but it was like, whatever. So I reach out to him on Thursday, like, hey man, what time do you want to meet? No response. Maybe reach out another time, you know, hey man, you know, later on in the day, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. No response. Next day comes around, hey man, hope everything's okay. If you still want to meet up, I'm available. No response. So for me, that's it. Okay, whatever. Guess not. You know, thought I had landed a whale. I guess I was wrong. So Saturday, the wife and I and the kids, we go to get, we go to a vegan burger joint. We have a nice night, you know, in bed early because we're old, and don't think anything of it. Sunday, I get a message from a guy saying he wants to buy some cards. All right. He picks out a few things. You know, we haggle. Like, he haggles me way down, much lower than I wanted to go. But I was like, you know, hopefully I can get somebody else. And he says, let's meet at this place. Let's meet at the store. I'm coming from far away, so I'll meet you halfway. Because I was gonna have him. Normally, I just meet people at at a place near me, but you know, this time I was like, no, I'll meet you a little bit further. It was only like 10 minutes more for me. But at this parking lot of like a Walmart. So I text him just before we're supposed to meet, like before I need to leave to be able to meet. And and he doesn't respond, and I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. But this time I'm like, you know, I just had a feeling about it. So I just was like, maybe he'll just, this is all shit I used to do. I'd never do this now. But, so I go there, and he ends up showing up. And he's like, sorry, I had to pick up my brother. You know, I'm trying to buy these cards for my kid. It's these two fat guys, big fat guys. It's cold, and we're sitting out there for quite some time. And you know, I brought the card, and I was like, hey, do you guys want to go through the box I always take with me? Like, you can, if there's anything else you want, make a deal. And he was like, yeah, sure. Like, he was surprised that I had it. But he's like, let me call my kid, because he's the card guy, and I'll you know, and I'm gonna show him some stuff, and like he claimed he had phone problems, so he had to you know, sit in his car, and I didn't realize what was going on. You know, I just thought this is kind of weird, but whatever. And so suddenly he they go, okay, we're gonna take this, and this. So I'm like, all right, you know, you're gonna get this, I'll make you the deal, blah blah. And they grab me, one hand on the shoulder. There's two, they're both behind me. Each guy has one hand on the shoulder, and each guy grabs one of my wrists. And they go, all right, you're under arrest. You know, and they don't even really tell me. They're just like, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I just can't. It's all happening so fast, and I'm in shock. Like, I just don't understand what's going on. And is that cop? Oh, the cops are kind of dicks to me over the whole thing. Like, I'm going, you know, just give me my phone. I sort of look, and all of a sudden, all these cops are there. Like, it's a huge operation. So they're not telling me what's going on, but I'm sort of looking around, and I notice they're from Shelby Township, and I'm like, Shelby Township? And I was just there last week. Did something happen to that guy? He's like, how did you know? And I'm like, well, you know, because you're here. I said, what, did he get robbed or something? And he's like, how did you know he got robbed? And I was like, because you're arresting me. Like, what the fuck do you think? Like, I don't know what's going on. But I know if you let me see my phone, I can show you that you're making a mistake. And they're not hearing it. They hurry up and put me in the back of the car. They won't let me call anybody because they don't want me calling my wife to, I guess, tell her to dispose of the cards. I don't fucking know. I don't know. But they're planning on raiding my house. So they put me in the car. They take me to Shelby Township, which is again like an hour away. They by the time we got there, I think the cop that was transporting me realized that they were probably making a mistake. So he starts being really cool to me, but he's also low man on the totem pole and he has to follow the fucking rules. So he won't let me. I'm like, dude, my phone is ringing. My wife is calling me. She probably thinks I'm dead. Like, it's been hours since I was supposed to be home. She hasn't heard from me. Come on, man. Let me just, you're married, right? You know my wife's fucking freaking out. And he's like, I wish I could, man. I can't, blah, blah, blah. He keeps trying to he's like, let me call and see if I can just, because I guess they were trying to get this. So what happened was this guy was supposedly robbed Saturday night, Sunday morning, I don't know, sometime after midnight, I don't know. And by Sunday night, I'm arrested. Somehow on a Sunday, this cop or this police organization orchestrated such a big sting that it was like, there was, I don't know, 10 cars there when I got arrested. There was another 6, 8, 10 cops here when they raided. There was a whole bunch of effort, energy, money put into arresting a guy that, it was stupid. The whole thing was the idea that I would rob a store overnight and run home and post those things on Facebook, here, these are for sale. What kind of stupid ass would even do that? But I'm super low level. The stuff that was supposedly stolen from this guy was high end. I wouldn't even know what to do with kind of shit. I would just fucking hold on. I wouldn't sell that shit if it's super high end. But I can't afford that kind of shit anyway. So I don't have that kind of shit. But they came through and I was in jail for 6 hours. They finally finished raiding my house when they were really cool about it. They were quiet. My kids were sleeping. My kids never woke up. They were cool. I think again, they realized it was the wrong thing. We're fucking poor. We're not the people that are, if you're going to be robbing stores and shit, you better be living decently. Not like me. It better be worth it for you. But I think they realized we're not, break into store kind of people. So they finally let me talk to my wife. It's midnight at this point, maybe later. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Call this person, call that person if you can. See if they'll help out. But I don't know what to fucking do. And she was, and they were telling her that I was going to have to, see the judge and that. She wasn't even expecting to hear from me. But they let me use the phone. Because, again, I think they all fucking... I'm not a bad guy. So they I'm sitting in the cell. I had one of the most profound experiences of my life in that jail cell, though. I can say that. Something I hadn't really realized. I guess I did kind of when I think about it. When I thought my kid was sick, I still didn't pray. But when I was in jail, I remember being the thought came. I had the conversation with myself. This is where a lot of atheists would be well, I don't usually do this, but if you're up there, God, some help here would be good or something like that. And I couldn't even get myself to do it. I thought it was kind of silly. But it's late as fuck. I'm in the fucking yellow jumpsuit. I can't even have my hair tie. You know, it's the real fucking thing. And I'm terrified because it seems like they really want to pin this on me. And they literally have zero evidence. They have nothing. Like I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know what I was getting charged with. I had to find out from my wife that I was getting charged with 3 felonies. So I would have been in prison for a long fucking time. You know, 20, 30 years for this kind of shit. Breaking and entering, larceny of a business, possession of stolen goods. Like they were gonna drop the hammer on me. And so they kept telling me that I would get a chance to talk to somebody beforehand. And all I can think of is like, I watched tons of those interrogation videos. And there are so many times where I'm like, I believe that person. I just have a hard time believing somebody can lie so well, apparently. Some people can do that. I'm not a good liar, so I can't imagine how people can do it. But so many times I'm watching this shit going, you know, this guy seems innocent to me. Like the system is railroading him. So in all of those videos, they always say like, never speak to the police without a fucking lawyer with you. Never. That's the number one rule, is you never speak to police. So I have that in my head, and I'm thinking like, what am I supposed to do here? And so the detectives finally show up. It's like 1:30 in the morning, or maybe 2. And the detectives come to my cell, and I'm like, I get to say they get to talk to them, and they're like, come on. They're like, I'm trying to read them. They seem like they're like let's just get this over with kind of thing. But I think after being at my house and talking to my wife and shit, they probably knew they had the wrong guy, but they were still maybe putting on the show. I don't know. But they pull me in, and I noticed they turn on the camera, so that was a cool thing, because I was going to ask, is this recorded? But I noticed they hit the button, the red light came on. And I said, like, you know, first I want to, because my wife told me they were cool. They didn't destroy our house. Even though they raided us, they didn't destroy our house. They didn't wake up the kids. So I was like, first I want to thank you for being cool and not destroying my house and not waking up my kids. Appreciate it. They had school tomorrow, school the next day.
To look for a reason to turn around.
And they didn't need the trauma of thinking their dad was in jail. They have no idea what happened. Like they do now because we've told them, but they had no idea the actual experience, and I'm glad they don't. But they asked me, like, you know, so and I, like before they could sit down, I'm like, look, man, I got set up. This is, and they're like, wait, hold up, like, let's go back here. And I'm like, whatever you want to talk about. And so we start talking, and I'm like, I think this guy set me up. I was there at his store the week before, and he was recording my cards, and he was like, wait, you were there the week before? I said, yeah, he fucking bought a bunch of shit off of me the week before, last Tuesday, because this was Sunday, last Tuesday, and told me he wanted me to come back Thursday, and I never heard from him. And he was like, oh, well, I didn't know that. And I'm like, yeah, and he took videos of all of my cards. So yeah, when you were talking to him and he said that was my card, this was my card, that's because he knew what they were. He knew what I had. Like, and I'm like, why would it, and then you could just easily look at it on Facebook and see it's been posted for a lot longer than, like, I've had these cards for a long time. And he's like, well, he said that you had blue tape and he uses blue tape. And everybody uses blue tape, motherfucker. Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, my wife said something about a video. And he's like, yeah, here. Yeah, and I said, can I see it? And he said, yeah. And, they show you the video, and then they're going to judge your reaction to it and everything. And I looked at the video, and I'm like, right away, the guy is using both hands to steal shit, to move the cards. And I didn't even I watched 30 seconds of the video. And I was like, yeah, guy's using his left hand. That's not me. I'm fucked up. And he's like, oh, I've seen you use your left hand several times already. And I'm like, yeah, when talking, not when grabbing shit and trying to do things that require dexterity. I'm sure I could have picked the video apart, but just right away, it's like, dude, he's using his left hand. Come on. And so he's, they talk to me a little bit more, and they're like, well, all right, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna let you go tonight, and we're gonna hang on to your phone. And I'm like, can't I just? He's like, it's already in evidence, so we're gonna, and I'm like, some bullshit to be able to keep my phone and go through it, I'm sure. But he's like, we're gonna let you go, and because I'm so grateful for it to be let go and not be stuck in jail anymore, my defenses are way down, and I'm overwhelmed by this. This is a psychologically overwhelming experience. If you've never experienced it, it's not just that you're there. I mean, it's the situation is designed. The best minds in the world have designed every nook and cranny on what's the best way to break people. And it's an assault on the senses, on everything, and it's traumatic all the way around. It's a traumatic experience. So I'm like, hey, can you guys, give me a ride home? You gave me a ride out here. And he's like, no, sorry, we can't do that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, fine, whatever. So I call my wife, whom she also told me that they took her from our house to the store to go get my car. They dropped her off because it was on the way back to Shelby Township. They dropped her off at our car so she could get our kids, to school the next day. They didn't take our car, thankfully. And I remember I was like, dude, you gonna at least leave my car? It's in a parking spot. And he's like, we don't have to. And I said, I know you don't, but can you? My kids my wife needs our car. Like, please don't do this. But so they let me out, and like I get all my shit and I walk out into this waiting room that's closed. It's 2 a.m. It's 3 a.m. It's closed down. So as soon as I got like away from everybody and in this like much softer place, the waiting room is much softer than the rest of the place. Like I started crying, and it took me a minute to get myself like to just let it all out. And then I got dressed, and all of a sudden the cop that was cool to me the whole time comes out, and he's like, hey, you got kids, right? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, and they got school in the morning, right? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay, we're gonna get you a ride home. This isn't okay. We'll get you a ride home. So then they come back another minute later, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna get you a ride. Just give it about 5 minutes, and the guy will come around and pick you up. And then one of the detectives, he comes out and he's like, hey man, you mind if I ride with you guys? And I don't fucking care. He's still feeling out the situation. He's not doing it. I mean, he's doing it to smooth things over, but he's also doing it just to see if I slip up. And, we ride home, and he lets me out of the back, and he goes and he gives me like a hug, but it's not even like a pat hug. It's like he hugs me and he's like, it's going to be okay. We're going to get this guy. And because I was like, if you need me to testify or whatever, I'm be more than happy to testify against this guy who tried to ruin my life, who tried to set me up and ruin my life. And so, a week later, I finally get my phone back, and that was that for the rest of the time. Well,
yeah, a week of not being able to sell shit.
So then my wife, she just calls me. I get this call, and I was live, so I used the other phone to call back, and she doesn't answer. And I'm like, that's weird. And I call back, and I even send the text like, yo, where are you? And now I'm getting worried. Why aren't you responding? So she finally pulls up and says,
Dad, can you get me a bowl of chips since it's Mom hasn't eaten breakfast? I didn't want chips. You will stay in here.
no, have you had lunch?
No.
Okay, I'll make lunch in a minute. I'll be in a minute. So my wife just tells me that she pulled over for a brake light, of all things, and the cop brings up what happened. Well, there's something on the record here that says you were involved in a big thing with Shelby Township, and but it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? They searched her car. They held her for like an hour. They pried as much. She's not me. She's not the confrontational person I am, and she's not as well versed in it as I am. So she let them do what they want, you know, answered all their questions and all that shit. And they searched and they like all kinds of bullshit. Unnecessary, illegal search and seizure was done. Like all kinds of shit was done that shouldn't have been done to my wife right now. And it was because of supposedly of Shelby Township. Something that I am 100% innocent and actually the victim of. Why does my record not state that I'm the victim of something in that situation? And so my wife has a call in to the Shelby Township Police Department to find out what the fuck is going on. Why is not only, like, I was the one arrested, so why would she even be asked about it? And the car is in her name, so why would, there's no association here. And again, we're the victims. Like, are you fucking crazy? What kind of insane shit is this? And it just so happens that it's, you know, days within this YouTube is starting to blossom, and you know, there's a few other things that I've done recently that are coincidental, I guess. You know, sending messages to tyrants in the government who oppress First Amendment auditors. You know, I love guys like DirectD and Press NH Now. Shit, those guys are fucking heroes, man. Long Island Audit. If you're not aware of those guys and you don't support those guys, something's wrong with you. And the thing is, like, what I want to know is, where are all the famous people? How come no famous people support these guys? You know, the artistic, truly artistic, famous people should, you know, absolutely be in that situation. So, I was reading earlier about the jet injectors. And I want to read this. So, in 1976, the U.S. Agency for Independent Development, USAID, published a book called War on Hunger, which detailed the war against smallpox with Imlach's jet injector gun, and was used, which Imlach's jet injector gun was used to eradicate the disease in Africa and Asia. The U.S. government spent $150 million a year to prevent its reoccurrence in North America. 1986, hepatitis B outbreak occurs amongst 57 patients in Los Angeles because of this thing. So it doesn't even mention the use of this technology for the 1976 swine flu outbreak. So we were, again, if you want to see more, the previous stuff, you just got to go look. In October, 3 people died of heart attacks after they received the vaccine. Okay, so on September 22nd, the first swine flu inoculations were given at a health fair in Indianapolis, in Indiana. Immunization started nationwide the next day. This is about the 1976 swine flu. This is for all those people that think the government wouldn't lie to you to get you to vaccinate. So again, you'd have to go look at the previous videos because there was a lot said. But basically, in 1976, and I can prove it to you. This isn't a theory. In 1976, the United States government lied and said that, knowing it didn't exist, they lied and said that there was a swine flu because supposedly 1 person died and 13 people were hospitalized. But by hospitalized, they weren't even affected. They were just taken to the hospital to be tested out because they had association with this guy. A soldier at Fort Dix in New Jersey the previous month had complained of influenza-like symptoms. A month later was on a 5-mile march where he collapsed and died. So the 13 people that were there with him in that situation were taken to the hospital. And because of that, they said that there was a swine flu epidemic and vaccinated 43 million Americans with a vaccine that they knew had a high chance of causing GBS or polio, and with a method, the water jet injector, that they knew spread diseases like hepatitis and other bloodborne diseases. And I've done nothing but prove this to you today. It's not a theory. I'm literally reading to you the official Wikipedia page. This isn't a page anybody can just go edit. This is an official government page, government Wikipedia page. So this is the official story that they want you to know. And I've proven to you that the government lied to you to inject you with polio while also spreading disease. Like this is 100% proven in the last few videos. In October, 3 people died of heart attacks after they had received the vaccine at the same Pittsburgh clinic, which sparked an investigation and the recall of that batch of vaccine. The investigation showed that the deaths were not related to the immunization. They were just coincidence. The president and his family received their immunizations before the television cameras on November 2nd. Ford lost the presidential election to Jimmy Carter. Right, because what the president was getting was the same thing that Joe Public was getting. Also, in early November, Albert Sabin published a New York Times editorial, "Washington and the Flu." He agreed with the decision to create the vaccine and to be prepared for an outbreak, but criticized the scare tactics that had been used by Washington to achieve that. He suggested to stockpile the vaccine and have a wait-and-see strategy. By December 15th, cases of Guillain-Barré syndrome, GBS, which is polio, they renamed. So if you were to, they said you got to take this shot, this vaccine, but it has a case. Symptoms are stomach ache, soreness of the spots, loss of appetite, increased risk of polio, or increased risk of GBS, and diarrhea, you're just going to hear those things and be like, I don't know what GBS is. And if they say Guillain-Barré syndrome, you're not going to remember what the fuck that was when you go to ask your doctor or you try to... How do you spell Guillain-Barré? You want to know? Karen. Hey there, dude. Something cut me off earlier. I disappeared off my own back. I'm glad you're here. I didn't see you in the other one. So Guillain-Barré is spelled Guillain-Barre. Duh. Guillain-Barré, right? That's how you would spell Guillain-Barré, right? When you go to try to look that up, you'd be like G-E-E-O-M-B and fucking Google wouldn't know what to tell you. So when you go try to, since you can't say it, you're going to be embarrassed. And you're not going to want to ask your doctor or somebody else, hey, what's Guillain-Barré? What's Guillain? Gimme. And because they put it in the middle of the symptoms like it's just a, diarrhea or something, again, you just think it's nothing. However, if that same ad said all those things, but instead of Guillain-Barré syndrome, they were like an increased risk of polio, nobody would take it, especially not people who experienced polio, who are old enough to know about the polio fucking times. Nobody would take it knowing there's a risk of polio. Especially when there's literally no proof that what you're taking it for exists. So they lied. They knew that this was a thing. By December 15th, cases of Guillain-Barré, GBS, affecting vaccinated patients were reported in 10 states, including Minnesota, Maryland, and Alabama. Now, you also have to remember this. This is 76. So people have a much different attitude towards going to the doctor. It's not like everybody just goes to the doctor anytime. It's not the same system where everything's computerized and all that. So all the reports that are taken are literally on files. They're paper files. Paper files can easily be lost. But there's that other side of things where lots of people probably died or had severe symptoms and it was never reported. So remember, when they talk about these numbers, they are severely low. Severely low. 3 more cases of Guillain-Barré were reported. They don't say how many cases were reported in 10 states. So that's at least 10, I guess. 3 more cases of Guillain-Barré were reported in early December, and the investigation into cases of it spread into 11 states on December 16th. This is the day later. 1-month suspension of the vaccine program was announced by Censor, Dr. David Censor. Again, go watch the previous videos. William Fogg of the CDC estimated that the incidence of GBS was 4 times higher in vaccinated people than those not receiving the swine flu vaccine. 4 times higher. Holy shit. You are 400% more likely to get GBS if you go get a swine flu vaccine, if you go get a vaccine for something that doesn't exist. And they know that shit. They knew it before they administered it. Understand that. They knew this shit beforehand. Ford told reporters that he agreed with the suspension, but he defended the decision to create the immunization program. Funny how that keeps being the case. They agree with it, but they defend it. They agree with to stop it or to quit it or to blah blah, but they also defend they should have. It's a good thing they did it. Joseph A. Califano Jr. was sworn in as Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare on January 20th, 1977. On February 4th, Censor was informed that he would be replaced as head of the CDC. The immunization program was not reinstated. A summarizing study concludes that vaccination overall is of public health benefit, helping to reduce mortality and prevent the thousands of deaths that occur from annual seasonal outbreaks, despite the possibility of an increased risk of GBS. In total, GBS cases occurred in 362 patients during the 6 weeks after influenza vaccination of 45 million persons. So, earlier, this same article said it was 43 million. Now it's saying 45 million. Initially, I thought it was 46 million. But it was way, way high. There was at least 4,000 lawsuits filed for people claiming to have negative either death or paralyzation or whatever from the vaccine. Lawrence Gostin, in his article At Law, Swine Flu Vaccine, What is Fair, wrote that the swine flu affair fails to tell us whether, in the face of scientific uncertainty, it is better to err on the side of caution or aggressive intervention. There is not even complete agreement about the causal relationship between the swine flu and the Guillain-Barré syndrome, as noted in Gina Colada's book, Flu, The Story of the Great Influenza Pandemic of 1918 and the Search for the Virus That Caused It. She wrote that the CDC did not have specific set of tests and symptoms to define Guillain-Barré, and that since doctors who reported cases already knew that the link was suspected, a bias in reporting was introduced. She quoted Keiji Fukuda, "If a new virus gets identified or reappears, you don't want to jump the gun and assume a pandemic is happening." Holy shit, that's the story of the swine flu outbreak. No talk of all the fucking cases that were filed, and what, there was like 4,000 plus lawsuits filed against the government and the vaccine manufacturers. So the government hurried up and passed legislation that still exists today that prevents the goyim, the everyday people, from suing the government or the vaccine manufacturers if they in fact get a vaccine that fucking gives them GBS or some other fucking horrible thing. They've protected themselves. They force you to take it, and then if you get negative effects that mean you can't fucking live, you can't pay, you can't work, you can't whatever for the rest of your life, the government's like, well, you shouldn't have taken that shit. This is some scary shit, you guys. Most of the people out there believe what they believe because they heard it. Their families believed it. Whatever it is, it's not because they've sat there and gone through and looked at what they're, done the research. They just believe what's comfortable. And it's scary because that's how easily manipulated we are. So I was telling you, my wife, she calls the Shelby Township Police, tells them the story, and the cop says, well, you need to call Livonia Police. That's on them.
So that was Shelby. And he said that they can't, he said, okay, so they pulled you over. He said, listen, they could be looking for that type of car. And so he slowed down to run the plate. He saw that you had a brake light out and thought, okay, this is a good opportunity to see if this is the person we're looking for. Pulled you over. He said when they saw, he said he didn't see the report. He saw that you were interviewed as a person of interest in a case. And I said, oh, so he lied to me when he said the report's so long, can you just tell me what happened? He goes, probably so, to find out what happened. So I said, my biggest concern is this just going to continue to follow us around? Because he said it's going to show, it's always going to be on your record that you were arrested, but right after that it says dismissed, charges dismissed. He said once you're booked, yes, that's on your record. But then it says right away on his charges dismissed. I said, yeah, but I wasn't charged. I wasn't arrested. He goes, no, but you were interviewed as a person of interest. And even a witness will pop up as, you know, when they look up the person's name, as they were interviewed. As
So for the rest of my life, it's going to show that I was arrested for 3 felony charges.
And then all the charges were dismissed. And it doesn't.
And it doesn't say that it was because
of mistaken identity.
Right.
It doesn't say that. It just says charges dismissed.
Right. So I could have done it, and there was a loophole that I got away with it on.
And me, and I said to him, I said, I've gotten a ticket since that time. I got a ticket for failure to yield through Redford. Remember?
I've been pulled over.
I said, and this didn't come up. He goes, I'm telling you, they must be looking for that vehicle, or you drove by a house that they're looking for somebody that just left. He said there was something else. He said you're perfectly within your rights to go get a FOIA.
Yeah, you got to go pay a fucking...
He said it's going to cost you some money, but it will tell you why they felt the need to search. Like, it gives you the information without lodging a complaint. Because I told him, I said, I don't want to lodge a complaint. This is Livonia. Maybe you aren't familiar, but like
they will retaliate
all the time. They will pull me over 2-3 times a week and find a reason to give me a ticket. Like, that's just what's going to happen, and I can't afford that. And he said a FOIA is, you know, not filing a complaint, but it will cost you some money, and at least will make you understand what happened.
No, I understand what the fuck happened. Some racist ass cops just doing their shit, trying to fucking meet their quotas, and, you know, or there's something else going on.
He wasn't trying to meet a quota because he didn't give me a ticket.
Right, he was trying to. He was trying to figure something out to be able to meet a quota on it. Looking for some drugs and shit. Searching a car. Some bullshit, man. That's bullshit. You absolutely needed to record yourself in that situation.
Again, I'm not lodging a complaint against Livonia.
No, I don't think
Kids
so.
go to school there. We're there too often.
Of course, next time, I'm lodging a complaint.
Oh, if this shit happens, yeah.
Yeah. And then the next time, we'll file a lawsuit. This is insane. I can't believe I have that shit on my record now. That makes me sick. I look like a criminal. Thank God I don't have to try to find a job.
You know?
Have you ever been arrested? Yes, but it was false charges. Blah. Like,
You have to explain.
you have to explain all that shit every single time.
It's embarrassing.
It is.
Even telling these cops what happened was embarrassing because it's like, you know, even though you didn't do anything, you still feel like a criminal.
Well, you were treated like one.
Well, yeah, You know what finally
My
broke the
body's
ice?
failing.
Broly brought up that the one cop was saying he liked my ink, that my feet hurt. And I said, no, only when my Corso stepped on this one the night it got done and kind of blew it out a little bit. That hurt. He goes, you have a Corso? And then that finally broke the ice and they were all being cool with me, talking about the dog.
Unbelievable. Fuck that shit.
I'm still shaky.
Right.
I told
it's
the
coincidence,
lieutenant
right?
that.
It's
he
all
said, I remember
coincidence.
this. He goes, you guys were super cooperative. I said, yeah, we were. I said, and I was during this traffic stop as well. But I said, I also had nightmares for months after you guys raided our house. I said, like, this was totally re-triggering for me. I'm still shaking, you know? And I said, I want to make sure that this isn't going to continue to happen. I don't want to have to be worried about this, whatever city I'm driving through. I said, hopefully now, because there were so many of them from Livonia, that they all know the story now and maybe won't do this to me again there. But who's to say another city isn't going to?
Well, the fact is, any city that wants to can. Because now they'll have some sort of weird justification. But that's just it. That's when you have to know your rights. And you have to stand up and be like, listen, I'm not answering any questions. If you guys are on a fishing expedition, I'm not giving you what you're looking for. So can we just do what you pulled me over for?
But at the same time, because of how I was when they came to our house and how you were when you were in their care, I got the response I just got from the lieutenant. Oh yeah, you guys were super cooperative. So, you know, they can't go back and say shit about me. All they can say is she was like really cool and super cooperative and had no problem with us doing any of it. Didn't show an attitude or anything.
Right, which gives the rest of them the power to go, well, she'll do it for us too. Instead of being like, this person's a problem who knows what the fuck they're talking about. We'll bring shit up. We'll make you look stupid.
See, I don't know. I think that had I been an uncooperative,
it's not being uncooperative. It's
they
not.
would have gone back and been like, she was totally suspicious.
It's not uncooperative. It's saying, listen, I know what you guys are doing. I'm not guilty of anything. You're bringing up something from a year and a half ago that was dismissed with prejudice, without prejudice. I'm not playing this game. I'm not gonna give you what you want. No, you can't fucking search my car. What is your reason for wanting to search my car? Is there drugs? Do you see drugs? Do you suspect drugs? What is this? No. The answer is, actually, you say the least amount you can. No, yes, answer yes and no. And you have your phone just recording. You don't even have to say anything. Just have it sitting there, whatever it is. But that's such a violation. And knowing you're saying it's one thing now, but it's like an accident. You'll feel it more tomorrow. It's some bullshit. It's some real disrespectful bullshit. And I can't help but wonder if it has anything to do with any of this. Yeah. These fucking clowns. They show back up yesterday, and lo and behold, this shit happens today. I don't know. But to me, if it is that shit, it's just more evidence that I'm right. Because why would I matter so much if I was wrong? It just you can't have it be both ways. The fact that I have the obsessed interference that I do, why would anybody be obsessed like that if I was wrong? It's all the same shit. Today we're talking about the swine flu, and we actually got to the bottom of the fucking swine flu vaccination program, because that's what it was. It wasn't a real thing. We're going back to David Censor. We stopped reading when he said, however, the anticipated pandemic did not emerge, and rising percentages of the 45 million vaccinated were afflicted with Guillain-Barré syndrome, which provoked over 24 deaths. Look, rising percentages, if you're talking about 45 million people being vaccinated and 320 cases of it, those aren't rising percentages. That's like 0.000 something percent chance. That's negligible. That's nothing. That wouldn't even be a thing. So the fact that they're trying to play it off as being such small numbers is crazy. 24 deaths, huh? Censor, and that's just what's reported. How many people died and they attributed it to a heart attack? And because they weren't testing to see if it was vaccine related, it was just a heart attack. How many people got really fucked up from it and stayed in their house? How many doctors were quick to write, that's blah, blah, blah. After the swine flu 76, which over 200 recruits at Fort Dix, New Jersey were infected. So now we're saying it's over 200 recruits? Now they were infected. So again, something that only existed on the military base. There was no swine flu cases outside of the military base, but they're saying some 200 recruits came down with it. Sounds like they were injected with something. Censor resolved that all U.S. citizens should be immunized, precipitated both by his apprehensions and a reoccurrence of the 1918-1919 flu plague, and by President Gerald Ford's incitement. The decision was later criticized as rash and wasteful in the United States. It led to the United States Public Health Service to request up to 200 million doses of vaccine. However, the anticipated pandemic did not emerge, and rising percentages of the 45 million vaccinated were afflicted with Guillain-Barré syndrome, which provoked over 24 deaths. Censor was both condemned and supported. There's literally zero support for this guy. 24 people unnecessarily died on record. Probably hundreds, thousands actually died. And thousands more were afflicted with Guillain-Barré syndrome, possibly for life. For nothing, so they could make money. That's it. $135 million is a lot of reasons for him to do it. And he got that. In 1976. Having worked with Censor at CDC, epidemiologist James W. Curran explained, Dave Censor made a hard choice, and he did it for the right reason, to protect the American public. He was trying to protect Americans. Had there been a swine flu epidemic, and absent one, there was bound to be criticism. He was trying to protect Americans from something that didn't exist. Like, do you not? You don't feel insulted hearing that? Like, that's how they talk to us. This is insane. This is Minority Report kind of shit. Well, we arrested you because we knew you were going to do a crime, maybe. We say you were going to. You don't think you were going to, but our machine, our precogs say you were, so. In 2006, Censor wrote a report on the swine flu program. When lives are at stake, it is better to err on the side of overreaction than underreaction. In 1976, the federal government wisely opted to put protection of the public first. No, that is not true. And what's terrible is people like this get to say these things and then they get put in print for eternity. And it's not like there's nobody there to question it. Wait, what the fuck do you mean? No, that wasn't. You didn't err on the side of caution. That's hysteria. There literally wasn't anything there. You're lying. There's some 200 recruits in the military were clearly got it from the military. And any reasonable investigation would show that. That year, Legionnaire's disease, then unidentified, killed 29 attendees of a Philadelphia American Legion conference. Since Censor sent 20 epidemiologists there to investigate, and months later they attributed the disease to a type of bacteria in the air conditioning system in the hotel where the conference was held. When Jimmy Carter's presidency began, Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare Joseph A. Califano Jr. dismissed Censor as part of the normal turnover of staff with administration's change, though it took until May 1977 to replace Censor with William H. Fogg. After a short stint in the private sector as Senior VP Medicine at Becton Dickinson and Company, big paid, Censor in 1982, during the development of the AIDS epidemic, boy, that is a weird way to say it, in New York City, rejoined the public sector as the health commissioner of the city, whose mayor was Ed Koch. Although some appreciated his arrangement of weekly information swapping sessions between doctors and public health officials, others, particularly those in the gay community, reprehended him for dragging his feet. AIDS activist Larry Kramer contended he and his reign accounted for one of the most disastrous experiences of public health anywhere in the world. What did he do? He didn't do anything. He had a mayor who said, "I don't want to know," and censor fell into line. Censor falls into line. That's how he gets the position. He's the type of guy that can push the button. You need people killed, censor's the guy to put in trouble, in charge. Most of us, Goyim, we couldn't decide to just kill fucking innocent people for nothing, or for an agenda, to make money, whatever. Guys like Censor, they're rare. James Colgrove, however, acknowledged Censor's amending the city's codes so that AIDS cases were treated confidentially, defending the right of children with AIDS to attend public schools, and being an early advocate for the city-sponsored needle exchange program. Colgrove agreed with critics that Censor was a poor public educator. He neglected to disseminate information regarding sexual risk, reduction for gay and bisexual men, and initially did not publicize that casual contact did not spread AIDS. Censor also reported free clean needles for addicts and fought to keep gay bathhouses open, believing they were an ideal place to teach safe sex. Well, that's where he got his fucking jollies, man. Censor was all about the gay bathhouses. Former CDC Director Thomas Frieden called Censor a public health giant, and until the end, he continued to be a thoughtful and vibrant member of the public health community. At the height of the H1N1 pandemic in 2009, he was here full time, and I said, "Can I pay you?" And he said, "No, this is a labor of love." Are you fucking kidding me? Censor died from pneumonia, of all things, on May 2nd, 2011, at the age of 86 in Atlanta. He is the namesake of the David J. Censor CDC Museum. He's a piece of shit. He's an absolute piece of shit. Talk about education today, boy. I hate doing this because this really hurts me. You guys don't get how much this fucking hurts me. But, oh. Go away from me, B. Crazy, man. This is, again, this is all of you people out there that think COVID, that the government wouldn't lie to you, that the system wouldn't lie to you about COVID. This is COVID of 76. It's the same exact thing. They just learned from 76. And they came at it a little bit better. But there was so many holes in that story. The San Francisco boat being a huge one. You know, the cruise ship that sat in the dock for 3 weeks. Well, what about all the people on there and their medications they needed? How were those people getting medications? Those stories weren't talked about. Started at 3,500 people. When it came time to evacuate, they were like, "Yep, we got to get rid of these. We got to evacuate these 2,500 people." Like, wait, what? Where'd the other 1,000 go? That's a strange. They just lost 1,000 people, huh? And of course, it's all Jews. It's all it is. Jews are in control. All of these people that I keep reading you the names, from David Censor to fucking everybody else, it's all Jews. Jews controlling the world and doing really horrible things. because they don't give a shit about us. All I gotta say is they don't really care about us. Who do you think Michael Jackson's talking about when he's saying they? He even says Jews in that song. Watch. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they don't really care about us. Lyrics. All I gotta say is they don't really care about us. Don't worry. Don't worry what people say. We know the truth. All I want to say is they don't really care about us. Enough is enough of this garbage. All I want to say is they don't really care about us. Skinhead, deadhead, everybody gone bad. Situation, aggravation, everybody alleging, everybody allegation. In the suite, on the news, everybody dog food. Bang, bang, shock dead, everyone's gone mad. All I say is they don't want to care about us. Beat me, hate me. You can never break me. Listen. Will me, thrill me. You can never kill me. Jew me, sue me. Everybody do me. Kick me, kike me. Don't you black or white me. All I got to say is they don't really care about us. This is Michael Jackson, guys. This is one of the last, hits Michael Jackson had in this world. And he said it. Jew me, sue me, everybody do me, kick me, kike me, don't black or white me. Tell me what has become of my life. I have a wife and 2 children who love me. I'm the victim of police brutality. Now, I'm tired of being the victim of hate. You're raping me of my pride. Oh, for God's sake, I look to heaven to fulfill its prophecy. Set me free. Skinhead, deadhead, everybody gone bad. Trepidation, speculation, everybody allegation. In the suite on the news, everybody dog food. Black man, black male, throw a brother in jail. All I gotta say is they don't really care about us. Tell me what has become of my rights. Am I invisible because you ignore me? Your proclamation promised promised me free. Your proclamation promised me free liberty. Now I'm tired of being the victim of shame. They're throwing me in a class with a bad name. I can't believe this is the land from which I came. You know I really do hate to say it. The government don't want to see. But Roosevelt was living. He wouldn't let this be. No, no. Skinhead, deadhead, everybody gone bad. Situation, speculation, everybody litigation. Beat me, bash me. You can never trash me. Hit me, kick me. You can never get me. All I gotta say is they don't really care about us. Some things in life they just don't want to see. But if Martin Luther was living, he wouldn't let this be. No, no, skinhead, yeah, everybody gone bad. Situation, segregation, everybody allegation. In the suite on the news, everybody dog food. Kick me, kike me. Don't you wrong or right me. That's how he ended it. Wow. I'd forgotten it was that powerful. That's the song that got Michael killed. Nobody says it. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. I'd post it on my Facebook, but they took it. Oh, you know what? Gotta see if the news is Ben Gurion Canal. Sort by date. Nope. No new song. No new news stories about the Ben Gurion Canal. I was told yesterday that that's what I'm going to be talking about all day today is the Ben Gurion Canal because the big story was going to come out. Guess the tip was wrong. That's why I stopped talking about it. Why would they be telling me to focus on something? especially with what I was focusing on was much more important. The fake fucking war, not fake war, the fake reasons for the genocide. There were no Israelis killed on October 7th, and there were no real Israeli hostages taken. So after all of that spray, now we're getting harped like a motherfucker. Look at that. Look behind the real clouds, you have the chem cloud harp action. Good stuff. Good stuff, right? Good stuff. Anyway, I'm fucking done. What am I doing? Shouldn't be doing this for such long times. It's so fucking, it's so taxing. You just have no idea. Between my neck and my back, it's so much. I'm gonna be doing shit all day, nothing all day because of this. But I hope you appreciate my sacrifice so you could be educated today. I know I do. If I wasn't educating myself, I would have shut it down much earlier. Anyway, see ya. Pedophiles, kill yourself.